Assalamu alaikum. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the difference between a good idea, fairly good idea, and a great idea. And we're talking about ideas for stories and ideas for storytelling. One of the ways to know whether your idea is merely a good one is, firstly, does it excite that passion inside you? Does it make you excited? Does it inspire you? Does it make you want to know more? Does it make you want to explore the idea further? If it doesn't, then it might not be the great idea that you want to actually start working on. But no need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because some ideas just need to be turned around a little bit for them to become great. So say, for example, you're telling the story of a girl who goes to high school and doesn't fit in, okay? It's a it's a story that's been told many times in many different genres, in many different ways, through books and film, okay? So you've got this girl and, she goes to high school and she doesn't fit in, okay? Big wow, right? Is there a way of making this girl more special, more unique, so that her story isn't just the typical girl goes to a new school, doesn't fit in, everyone's mean to her, and then one thing happens and all of a sudden she's the favorite or whatever? Because what we want to avoid in our storytelling is tropes. And tropes are basically stereotypical story styles, okay? A typical story. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a common thread that runs through fiction. We will be addressing that in another video. That's called The Hero's Journey. That is something that is common to all types of stories, and that's fine. What we want to avoid is a story that you feel you've heard before, maybe even 100 times. So that idea of the girl, flip it on its head. Tell that story, but maybe from someone else's perspective. Okay, so either give her something more unique that makes her more different, like in the book Wonder, for example. That was a typical boy goes to school, doesn't fit in, struggles for a while, and triumphs at the end. Okay, it was a typical story in that sense, but the author had given the boy a massive facial disfigurement. Okay, so he's dealing with a huge set of issues, much bigger than somebody who's just come from another town, and the way that children deal with him. And another thing that I liked about the book Wonder, which if you haven't read, I highly recommend. Another thing I liked about that book was the way that the author told the story from different perspectives inside the same book. I thought that was brilliant, because she told the story from the best friend's perspective, from the sister's perspective, from the sister's boyfriend's perspective. And it really made the story so rich and wonderful. So, two things. One, we want to try and make the character and maybe even the setting, give it a twist, make it something really different. So rather than her just going to a normal high school and not fitting in, how about she ends up in a boarding school for geniuses and she doesn't fit in? Okay, I mean, Harry Potter is probably a good example of that type of twist on a normal tale. So give the story, the setting, and the characters a twist by making it something you don't expect. So bring unexpected elements into it. That's the first thing. Second, consider telling that same story from a different perspective. You can use a dual narrative, so there can be two voices throughout the story, or you could actually tell the story from someone else in the story world who's not that main character, because then you'll be telling quite a different story. So this is what we want to look at when we're looking at good ideas versus great ideas. Okay, firstly, does the story excite you? Does the story inspire you? Does it make you want to know more about what's going on? That's the first thing. Second, is it something we've heard time and time again? If it is, but it's still passionate, you're still passionate about it, then consider twisting it, turning on its head, or telling it from a different perspective and trying a different storytelling technique with that. I hope that helps you to decide between a good idea and a great idea, and I look forward to seeing the results of that coming through in your work. Assalamu alaikum.